Today's Spotlight is brought to you in part by presenting sponsor, First Community Financial Bank, the community bank where you come first. You're watching Spotlight, and with me today in studio are Carol Simler, who is the president and CEO of DuPage PADS, and Janelle Barcelona, who is the vice president of development. So welcome to the set, ladies.
Thank you, Jane.
Thank you, Jane.
We are so glad to have you, and you've had a very wonderful year, 30 years of serving the community. Tell us a little bit about that, Carol.
Well, we're really excited to celebrate 30 years of this community responding to people who are homeless in our community. And we started because there wasn't a system in the county to house people, to offer them support for the night and rest for the night. And so here we are 30 years later. And our mission remains the same. We're committed to end homelessness here in DuPage County, but we have the solution to end homelessness. And so we've really moved from managing homelessness to ending it, with the solution being housing coupled with support services and employment.
That's a big job, and I love the fact that you're actually there. You feel like you're almost right there, knocking at the door. That's wonderful. Janelle, tell us a little bit about how homelessness has changed in the last 30 years.
Sure. In our initial year in 1985, we actually served 120 individuals, all men, and we offered 900 nights of shelter and 1,800 meals. So fast forward to 2015, and we served more than 1,200 individuals, and just 43,000 nights of shelter, 147,000 meals. And you know, who we're serving has changed. 41% female, at least 20% children. And really, sometimes in DuPage County, homelessness is invisible. People don't believe it's happening here. And we work very hard to assimilate the children and families and individuals into the community. And actually, though, last year, when we compare the number of children we served, it's 53% higher today than it was in November of 2014.
Those are big changes. What do we think is attributing to that?
The numbers of families have increased.
Okay.
And it's hard for us to see families. Myself being a grandmother, to know what my grandson has, and then to see children, this is the beginning of their lives. And so they are our future.
Yeah.
And so poverty, the economy, I think all attributes to people, challenges, health challenges as well. And so that's what we see. We see the rise in homelessness, significant in terms of the number of children.
And it's a changing face, as you've just talked about.
Right.
You've done a lot to change yourselves and how you're addressing that. Tell us a little bit about some of those programs, some of those new programs that you've introduced.
Sure. Everything that we do, Jane, is with the client right in the middle, and what are their needs. And so one of the needs that we saw was there was no respite, no medical respite for someone who has some challenges. So people were coming to us with broken bones, on chemotherapy, and so where do they find the rest that we take for granted? And so we started a medical respite program, which led us to this year establishing a culture of health within our agency. So looking at chronic disease self-management, that's really been an important step for us, because we're identifying right at the front door that many of our folks have 1 or 4 of those 7 chronic diseases identified by the Health Association, the Heart Association.
How hard is it to, when you just think about struggling with health issues to begin with, and then not to be able to do it in your own home?
Exactly.
That's really tough.
When a child is ill, where do they go? And so we're able to provide that respite for them. And then also, in the middle of their respite, we're developing a care plan with them. And so when they leave our respite program, then hopefully we have a plan for them to return to housing.
It's so much more than just providing a roof and a safe place overnight. And that's really incredible. Now, I know you've done a lot of work with veterans. That's been a big part and a big initiative. Tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. We had a goal this year, the 30th year, that we were going to end chronic veteran homelessness. Now, chronic is they've been on the streets for a year or more with a disability of mental illness, substance abuse, or a disabling health condition. So the goal was the end of this year. Well, as of November 4th of this year, we proudly said we've ended chronic veteran homelessness for the people that we serve.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well done.
Very
And I
proud
know
of
you
that.
didn't do that alone. You
No, we
have
didn't.
lots and lots of volunteers. Talk a little bit about that, Janelle, because you need volunteers.
Yes. You know, we need more than 4,000 volunteers. We operate the overnight sites 365 nights a year, and we need volunteers from 5 p.m. to 7 a.m. to keep these avenues open for those that we serve. So 4,000 is a big number. We also need them at our client service center that's open in the daytime, as well as for our major events that we run. So volunteers are just the heart and soul, really, of our mission.
And you talked a little bit, you mentioned about ending the chronic veteran homelessness.
Yeah.
And I know, Janelle, you have a story that I'd
do.
love to have you share with us
Sure.
about a particular individual that I
Yes.
think really illustrates the services that you're providing.
Sure. Larry is one of the veterans that we moved to a place to call home. And actually, after serving in the Army, he worked in manufacturing for 35 years until the business that he worked for, shut down. And in addition to being out of a job, he also had health concerns, severe arthritis, cancer, as well as, he even had a stroke. So after 4 years of being homeless, DuPage PADS was able to put him in our permanent supportive housing program. And he's very proud of his apartment, and thanks us that he now has case managers to look over him to manage his health, as well as all his medicines and doctor visits. So he just knows he wouldn't be here without us. We also helped him get his VA benefits that is often a struggle to get on your own. So his life is really very different because of us and because of the community.
And that's, I think, a wonderful story. I mean, there's a person who's certainly selflessly given to others, and now we're able,
Exactly.
through this supportive system, to give back to him. That's great.
Right,
That's
thank
great.
you.
We're getting ready for a new year coming up soon as we're end of this one.
Yeah.
What's on the horizon for you for 2016?
Sure. 3 things. One, Larry is a tenant now of ours in our supportive housing program. We have 80 apartments across the county. And we want to increase that because we need about 100 more apartments
Okay.
to end chronic homelessness. Our goal this year, because we met this year with chronic veterans, we want to work on chronic families and chronic individuals. Those people need a place that they can call home again. And so that's our goal for this next year. We'll come back and we'll tell you how we're doing.
I have a feeling you're going to do very well with that. I have a feeling you are.
Yeah.
I would like to thank you, ladies, because I know you're doing incredible work with all of the volunteers that you have, and you're making a real difference in changing lives. So, the solution to end homelessness starts with housing. And as you've just heard, DuPage PADS is so much more than a pad on the floor. So to find out more about how DuPage PADS is providing interim and permanent housing, coupled with those very important supportive services to help individuals work towards becoming self-sufficient, please go to their website. We're going to take a quick break, but we're going to be right back with more Spotlight, so please stay with us.